What's going on, people? How you doing today? Look at that road. That's the road to success. That's the road to abundance. That's the road to wealth, baby. Water represents abundance. All this good energy, I'm sending it to you right now. Now I'm getting these downloads from the sun right now. I'm just getting downloads. You know, when a video like this comes into your presence, that comes into your feed, there is definitely a message that you need to listen to. And I'm about to deliver you a deep, deep message right now. You know, when God is trying to talk to you, God will always talk through you first. That is the first place that God will go to. Now, have you been trying to give somebody some advice about their life, about their career, about something that they need to be doing in their relationship? Any of those things. You know, it could be different things. You have to understand, when God is trying to talk to you, God will send you the message right through your own mouth. You know, and this happened to me. You know, I spent like years of telling a couple of my friends, hey man, you need to start a YouTube channel, bro. You're so smart, man. You have so many different subjects that you could talk about, man. You know how to raise the frequency and the vibration. And you know, of course, nobody ever followed my advice, of course. But I woke up one day and I said, man, I wasn't even talking to them. I was actually talking to myself. And I got the inspired action to just start making videos. And when you step into your purpose, it feels so right. So if you're giving somebody advice right now in their life, something that they need to be doing, really listen closely. Are you really talking to yourself? Are you giving yourself the advice that you need to hear? Because God is talking to you through you right now. Now, when you're talking to somebody, you'll feel convicted by your own advice. You'll feel like, wait a minute, this is something that I need to be doing. You know, I'm telling such and so that they need to do this in their life. They need to do that. And you just feel a conviction to take your own advice. You feel it. It's like it's deeply rooted within you. You know, you can't stop thinking about it. So that's God talking to you. You know, you have to just go ahead and just do it. You know, there's no time to mess around anymore. It's time to take your own advice. It's time to just go ahead and just take that leap of faith. You understand? And also, if you're talking to somebody, giving them advice, another way to know that God is talking to you, you feel really, really emotional about it. You know, you're just putting all of your feelings into telling someone, hey man, you should start a YouTube channel. You know, you're so smart, you're so intelligent, you have to do it. You feel feelings, you're just so emotional about it. That's another sign that God is talking to you. God is talking to you right out of your own mouth, right through your own thoughts. You understand? And you'll also find yourself telling people things like, hey, trust God, trust divine timing, let go, you know, don't stop. You know, that's also God telling you this. God is telling you to just let go, make space, because new things are coming into your life. God is telling you, whatever you got going on in your life, if you are doing something, becoming successful, you know, thinking about a business, God is telling you, don't stop. God is telling you to trust, let go. You have to know that God is telling you these things. You know, look at that road to success, baby. You know, that's where you got to go. You can't stop. You have to stay consistent. You have to continue to walk down that road when it comes to becoming successful. You understand? You have to let God deliver these messages to you, and you have to take heed. You have to take your own advice. Now, another way to know that God is talking to you, you feel inspired by your own words. You feel inspiration. You know, you're telling somebody, like I said, hey man, you know, start a YouTube channel. Next thing you know, you find yourself looking for, you know, tripods. You find yourself looking for mics. You find, you look at other videos on how to record videos. You know, you start gathering information because you're taking inspired action. You feel like taking inspired action based off your own words. You know, God will put these different visions into your imagination. You know, you can see yourself winning the lottery, right? And you feel inspired to start watching videos on how to manifest. You know, God will put these messages and this information and these visions into you first. Like I said, when God wants to speak to you, God is going to start with you first. And then if you don't listen to yourself, then God will start using everything else that he can use to get messages through to you, even videos like this. You understand? Now, another way to know that God is talking to you through you, you know, something that you've been talking about, something that you've been thinking about, all of a sudden it pops up in your feed. You know exactly what's going on in your life, exactly what you need to do next. Next thing you know, here comes a YouTube video, just pops up in your feed. That's God talking to you all day long. You know, you have to listen. You have to listen, because something that you're manifesting, something that you're supposed to be doing, you need to do that right now. You can't wait anymore. You know, there's no perfect time. You know, right now is the perfect time to stop. You can't wait to start. You can't wait for the perfect time, because that time will never come. You know, right now, you need to do it right now. Now, think about this. This is another way to know that God is talking to you. When you're thinking about something or talking about something to somebody, about something that involves being successful or just doing something that's uplifting in their life, you see a synchronicity. You go through a synchronistic moment. You know, a moment where there's a meaningful connection, right? And that can be you talking to somebody, then all of a sudden a car will pull up right in front of y'all and the license plate says, "Trust God." You know, that's a synchronistic moment. You know, you're telling somebody about the next move that they need to make to become successful. All of a sudden you see a sign that says, "Go for it," right? Or repeating numbers. You know, you're talking to somebody about a great idea, about something that could bring a lot of wealth in their life, right? All of a sudden 777s pop up, 888s pop up. You all both look at the clock and it says 1111, 222, 333, 444, 555. You know, that's a synchronistic moment. That is a confirmation that God is talking to you. God wants you to listen to that message, because this is what's going on, right? You have to pay attention. You have to be aware. Now, you'll also feel like what you're talking about is suddenly it's an idea while you're talking. You know, you get ideas. It's like they're flowing through you. It's like you're talking to somebody about ways to become successful. All of a sudden you pick up an idea like, "Man, that's a great idea. Man, I'm going to go ahead and try that out. I'm going to do that." You know, God will give you inspiring ideas while you're running your mouth. You know, and a lot of the times people just think they're babbling off at the mouth. They think they're just talking. They think they're just, you know, but these inspired ideas will come through you at the right time. You know, if you're tuned in, if you know that God is always talking to you through you, then you'll know that this idea came from God, right? Now, another way to know that God is talking to you through you is you feel inspired divine wisdom flowing through within you. You know, you're talking to somebody and you're just like, you feel the divine flow. You feel the divineness. That's letting you know right now that God is talking to you and your moment is now. You know, the more that you're tuned into this, the more that you know that the universe is talking to you right now, it will make you more inspired to take that leap of faith, to take that next step in the right direction. You understand? All the abundance out here. Water represents abundance, baby. And like I said, that's the road to success, baby. That's where we're at right now. You know, now, another way to know that God is talking to you right now is you say something to somebody, right? And they needed to hear this message at the exact time, at that moment. But what you're telling them is also helping them, right? They needed to hear this, right? But you're also going based off something that you have experienced. But not only is it something that you have experienced, but it's like you're bringing up this situation to them so you can heal yourself. God is working through you to heal this moment that you may keep replaying in your life, that it keeps coming up, it keeps surfacing. God will put a person in your life that goes through a similar situation, and you help them with their problem, but at the same time, you're helping yourself with your own problem because you are fixing that. You're healing yourself. And also, you'll tell someone something like, hey, man, take a chance. Take a leap of faith. You know what I'm saying? Go do it. You have to just trust right now. That's God telling you that right now. God's telling you, go ahead and take that chance. Step out of your comfort zone right now. Stop being comfortable. God will definitely do things like that and tell you things like that. Here's a little area where I can just climb up real quick and kind of get more of let me see, I got up there, more of a view of this water, but let me watch where I'm walking at. You know what I mean? Ooh, that's a little far down with the water. But yeah, all that abundance, baby. That's what this is. It's that beautiful Lake Michigan. You understand? Now, when you tell somebody stay consistent, you realize that you have been not staying consistent yourself. It'll bring that up. If you're telling somebody, hey man, don't stop, stay consistent, God is also telling you, you're slacking. You're messing around right now. What you should be doing is not what you could be doing right now, or what you could be doing is not what you get what I'm saying. God is telling you right now, you're slacking off on right now. You need to stop. You need to put your foot on the gas. You can't you can't take your foot off the gas. You got to keep going. You can't stop right now. God is telling you consistency. Go right now. Stop slacking. When you tell somebody things like that, stay consistent. You understand? And also, when you say something out of your mouth, you feel like you are actually talking to your past self. You feel like you're definitely talking to yourself. You're talking to your present self, but you feel like you're talking to your past self, your future self. You feel like you're just talking to all of yourselves right now. When you speak about things, you could be talking to yourself. You could be talking to just somebody else. You could just be blabbing off at the mouth. All of these times when everything that comes out of your mouth is a message for you. You have to understand this. You're so connected to the divine. You're so connected to your past self, your future self. You're just connected to everything. So everything that comes out your mouth, I'm telling you, just take heed to it, because these are the things that will happen in your life, and this is what goes on. Now, another way to know that God is talking to you, you feel like talking to yourself about abundance, about wealth, about just inspiring things, inspiring ideas. When you speak about wealth and abundance and, wealth is my birthright, especially if you're speaking to somebody else about abundance and wealth, that's God talking to you to let you know that abundance and wealth is about to happen in your life. You might be speaking about lottery wins, about Cynthia Stafford's story. God is inspiring you by even speaking about this to let you know that you also have this coming in your life. Now I just wanted to deliver this quick little message to you about how God is trying to speak to you right now. And like I said, God will start with you first. Now, thank you so much for tuning into Millionaire Mindset, where everything happens in divine time by divine design. I'm about to take that road to success, baby. That's where we at. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comment on this video, people. I love you. Until the next video. Peace.